Hi, I'm Dawn Wenk, and thank you for your interest in the teacher education program here at Santa Fe Community College. Within the next little bit of time, we're going to go over some questions you might have before beginning the program, and also some of the program requirements and some requirements that from the PED licensure. And so I hope that you will find this informative and use this as a resource also throughout your time in the program, because some of these questions and some of the requirements may not be as important to you at the beginning of the program, but they'll come around in the middle of the program. So I hope you'll bookmark this on your computer and kind of reference it again and again as you have questions that come up. So we're just going to dive in right now. So one of the aspects of the Teacher Academy here at Santa Fe Community College is the mission and the vision that went into the creation of this really continue to ground and provide a foundation for all of the classes. So what I'm going to invite you to do is I'm going to go ahead and read the mission and the vision aloud. What I'm going to encourage you to do is to either close your eyes and listen. You have this written, which you can always refer to, but at least I know if I try to read while I'm listening, I end up not absorbing anything. So let me just go ahead and read those aloud. The mission. The Santa Fe Community College Teacher Academy mission is to professionally prepare critically reflective and culturally responsive educators who expect and support the success of each and every student and to significantly contribute to the quality of education in New Mexico and beyond. Our vision is that the Santa Fe Community College Teacher Academy graduates will serve as advocates for social justice and as leaders and change agents for the transformation of education. Our teacher candidates will fully engage in the cultural, political, and economic life of our democratic society, and by example will inspire students, families, school districts, and the communities they serve. And so if you're perhaps thinking about becoming a teacher, and maybe all of this doesn't feel entirely like, what does that actually mean and what does that mean for me? That's completely fine, because we'll be working with these ideas throughout your time, and what ultimately this will mean for you will be something different from somebody else, and we really encourage our students to find what does this mean for you in your individual teaching path. We have 4 core values that really thread the entire program as well. I'll just mention them briefly. You'll be working with them throughout all of your classes. Critically reflective teaching, professionalism, diversity, collaboration, and community. We'll work a lot with those in the orientation of the teaching profession, in the critically reflective teacher, and actually you'll continue to work with those throughout the program. So some of the real strengths of our program that makes it unique is we tend to attract individuals with diverse life experiences. We tend to attract people who have gone out and lived. Everybody's not right out of their bachelor's, who have had other careers, who have had other professions. The average age of the student in our program is around 45. And because everybody comes with either bachelor's, master's, or doctorates already, we expect that our students bring that content knowledge with them. So if you're going to teach math and you have a math degree, you've got that content knowledge. What we're going to teach you how to do is pedagogy. We're going to teach you how to teach. Because almost all of our students work full-time, all of our classes are either one night a week, and all of our classes go from 5:30 to 8:15 p.m., or they're online. And if you live within the Santa Fe area, we highly, highly, highly recommend that you take the classes on campus. But we have students throughout the state, in other states, and actually in other countries. And so our online program is equally as vibrant, and you don't have to choose one or the other. Maybe you start on campus and then you have something that comes up in life or something happens, you need to take an online class. That's perfectly fine. But this right here is one of the reasons why those of us within the education department so love this department and our students. All of us have taught in a number of different places, and because our students do come with all these life experiences, do come oftentimes with other careers, do comes oftentimes with teaching in other countries, it just brings all that richness into the classroom, which then goes into your own classrooms. Oops. Some of the strengths of our program also include it takes about 1 to 2 years to complete. Usually I would plan on a year and a half. And especially if it's about a year and a half if you're going for secondary, a year and a half, 2 years elementary, and early childhood. Special education has additional coursework, and so I would plan on the full 2 years for that. All of the instructors who you'll have in our program are either teaching currently K through 12 or early childhood, or have. And so all of us have been in the classroom, and we bring all of that into our work with you. We have a very strong component of program advisement. Work with your faculty member or with our lead admin. What I hope you will do for that advisement, and I'm going to bring it back, is as you think of a question, pop back into this video and see if there's a response here, because a lot of our questions really are around some pretty foundational program requirements, and anything additional, there's faculty members, there's also our lead admin. The curriculum is aligned with preparing teachers in our local area districts, so that's here within Santa Fe. And I say that, and also because we have students who are teaching throughout the state, and as I mentioned, in other states and even abroad, all of that comes into the classes, and so it's not just for the local school districts. All of those different experiences really enrich the classroom, because if you're teaching in Farmington and telling us what's going on there, if you're teaching in Las Cruces, if you're teaching in Santa Fe, all of those really come into the classrooms and enrich the conversation. And this is a really key component, whether it's on campus or online. We're a very collaboratively based. Our pedagogy is very collaboratively based. You'll be talking a lot with your classmates. You'll be talking a lot with us. You'll be talking a lot with each other, because the diverse experiences of your peers are really included in all of the classes that you'll be taking. So the steps to applying. And if you're watching this video, it is on the same URL webpage where the application is. And remember, for the application for the Teacher Academy, there are 2 distinct steps. First, you apply. If you've never been a Santa Fe Community College student, you apply first to Santa Fe Community College, and that's when you'll receive your A number. That's what we call your student number. So you need that A number in order to apply to the Teacher Academy. And the application is going to be found on a link right on this page. Here's the URL, but I'm guessing it's probably easiest at this point for you to just click right on that page. So we can accept for that initial application unofficial transcripts. Primarily, we need to check that you have a BA or beyond and have that minimum 2.5 GPA or beyond. So we can accept those initially. However, our registrar does require official transcripts from your most recent your most recent degree. So if you have a master's, we can accept that. Our registrar can accept that. We just have to prove that you have a BA. So that's for initial acceptance. Now, this is a pretty important part, and I want you to grab a note or write it down. So for provisional acceptance, all students are provisionally accepted initially to our program. And you're limited in the number of courses you can take. You can take 201A, the orientation to the teaching profession, and then 201B, the critically reflective teacher. 201A is the first 5 weeks of the semester, and when 201A ends, then 201B begins. And that's true for both on campus and online. So under the provisional acceptance, what we need is that your transcripts with that 2.5 GPA. Now, in order to move forward out of provisional acceptance and into full acceptance, these are the things that are required that first semester. Completion of 201A and 201B with a 3.0 GPA minimum. We also require that students take the NES Essential Skills tests, and it's tests 1, 2, and 3, which are reading, writing, and math, and pass those successfully the first semester in order to move on with the program. Now, If you don't have that 3.0 GPA by the end of the first semester, or if you haven't passed one of the NES tests, it doesn't mean you're not in the program. It doesn't mean any of those things. It just means that those requirements have to be completed before you can move on with the rest of the coursework. We also need 3 letters of recommendation to be submitted and a background check. Now, if you are teaching on an internship license, which we'll get into in a little bit, or have a substitute teaching license, we can accept a copy of that license for your background check. Any license that that there was a background check required for, we can accept. If you don't have that, then within 201A, and actually on this website, there's a link which you can use in order to get that background check done. So the things required for full acceptance: minimum GPA of 3.0, the NES 3 tests, reading, writing, and math completed successfully, and that background check in order to move forward in the program. So the internship license. The internship license is something that many of our students do apply for. It is separate than our program. Once you are provisionally accepted into our program, you are automatically eligible for an internship license with the New Mexico Public Education Department. And what they will require is our letter of provisional acceptance, which is the letter you get when you're accepted to the program. And you'll need official transcripts from whatever your most recent degree was, either your bachelor's or your master's or beyond. So what is an internship license? An internship license is good for 2 years. And during that time, school districts can hire you as the teacher of record for the same salary as a level 1 teacher to teach during that time. So if you wanted to teach high school immediately, then once you have that provisional letter of acceptance, you're eligible for that internship license and schools can hire you. Now, it's good for 2 years, and so you have 2 years to complete all of the requirements within that license, all the requirements for the license, or they won't let you back in the classroom. We within the program don't have a steadfast time limit like that. If it takes you 3 years to complete the program, that's fine with us. But if you're on an internship license, then that time is limited to 2 years. So let's dive into some of the programs in the coursework. Early childhood is it's for birth through a 3rd grade, and you have to have 30 credit hours, sometimes 24, in cross-content areas: read math, social studies, language arts, and science. And so a minimum of 6 credits in each of those. And then the NES tests, which are required by PED for that license, are the NES, the Essential Skills 1, 2, and 3, which we require the first semester, and also the Early Childhood Professional Knowledge. Now, our early childhood program is offered entirely online, and here is a sequence of what that coursework looks like. Now, there are a couple of key things I want to bring your attention to. The EDUC 250, the Profession in New Mexico, and the EDUC 251, Foundations of Early Childhood. Those are the 2 courses which have to be completed successfully with a GPA of a 3.0 or beyond before continuing, as well as the NES tests. And this is our early childhood is based on a cohort model, so you'll be working with your peers, moving through the coursework in a sequential order. One thing to remember is supervised field experience, EDUC 257, which is the capstone course. You need to turn in your application to that the semester before. So if you're going to apply to do your supervised field experience in the fall, you'll need to turn in that application in May or in April. So just kind of have in your thinking, I got to remember to turn in that application. Okay, let's look at the elementary license. And with that license in New Mexico, you are licensed to teach kindergarten through 8th grade. And the PED requires 24 hours of cross-content. So again, 6 credit hours in math, 6 in social studies, 6 in language arts, and 6 in science. Now, with the elementary license, the PED requires 4 distinct NES tests. So here's that essential skills, which you'll be taking the first semester with us. There's also the elementary content exam, and that is required before supervised field experience, and we'll talk about that some more. The professional knowledge, which is basically teacher competency, it's basically classroom, experiences in the classroom, and the essential components of elementary reading instruction. These two NES tests you'll take toward the end of our program. So these are the two to kind of be thinking about as far as I need to get registered, and I need to have it present in my thinking. So the sequence of coursework for elementary are: you start with EDUC 201A, Orientation of the Teaching Profession, and EDUC 201B, the Critically Reflective Teacher. Again, one class is the first 5 weeks, the second class is the subsequent 10 weeks. Those are the two that need to be completed with a 3.0. Successfully pass the NES and do that background check in order to move forward in the program. From there, you go to Theories of Teaching and Learning, Curriculum and Assessment, and Effective Teaching. We very much recommend that these courses are taken chronologically in order as much as possible. Every once in a while someone has something with their schedule that they have to move things a little bit. However, the information and the knowledge of each of these courses really builds upon the course before it. So, and then the two reading courses for elementary are Fundamental of Reading Instruction and Teaching Reading for Elementary. Now, 205 is a prereq, so you have to take it the semester before you take 206C. 214, Supervised Field Experience, is the capstone course. EDUC 201A through 204 must be taken before Supervised Field Experience. You can take the reading and the special education courses simultaneously if you need to, but that through 204 must be completed with a 3.0 in order to move into Supervised Field Experience. Okay, secondary. So if you'd like to teach at the secondary level, that's 7th grade through 12th grade. And you need to have 30 credit hours in the area where you're going to seek your initial licensure. So if you want to teach math, you need to have 30 credit hours in math. If you want to teach language arts, you need to have 30 credit hours in language arts. Now, maybe you would like to teach something that is different than what you got your degree in. Maybe you got your degree in English, but you want to teach math. How we do that is you'll get your first area of licensure in whatever you have these 30 credit hours in. So even if you have no intention of teaching math, you're going to get what we recommend, so you don't have to take another 30 credit hours of a whole other subject, is you get your first area of licensure, your first endorsement in that area. Once you have that initial license, you can take an NES content exam, which we've talked about, to get endorsed in another area. So say your degree's in math, but you want to teach English, you're going to get your first license in math because you have those 30 credit hours there, and then take the NES content exam for language arts, and that's how you get your certification and are endorsed to teach language arts without having to go take another 30 credit hours. So for secondary, there are 3 NES exams that are required: Essential Skills 1, 2, and 3. The content exam, and this will be in the area that you are going to teach. If you're going to teach math, it's going to be in math. If you're going to teach social studies, it's going to be in social studies. So you need those 30 credit hours and the content exam. It's not an either or. The PED requires both. And then the professional knowledge for secondary, which you take at the very end of our program. Okay, this is what the coursework looks like for secondary. Again, 201A and 201B are the first classes that you'll take. 202, 203, and 204. And as you see, the secondary, elementary, and also special education, these core classes, everybody takes all together. It's not until the reading classes and the special education classes that we really start to go into different groups. Reading in the content area, 206S, and then 214, again 214, you have to have that 3.0 and take the content exam before. Okay, let's look at special education. So special education, the special education license is for K through 12th grade, and you need those 24 cross content, so 6 math, 6 social studies, 6 science, and 6 language arts. And then if you're going to teach in a self-contained special education classroom, so for example, if you're going to teach math, self-contained special education, then you would need those 30 credit hours also in that area that you're going to teach. And the NES exams required for these are the Essential Skills 1, 2, and 3. The Special Education Content exam, which you'll take right before Supervised Field Experience, and the Professional Knowledge. And because it's a K-12 license, you can do secondary or elementary. The recommended sequence of coursework, most of this is going to look very familiar to you, 201A and B, the core classes, the fundamentals of reading, and then you really get into the specialization of special education with Supervised Field Experience as the capstone at the end. So this is the NES test requirements. It is all of the tests. This is just pulled off the NES website, but it's a good reference for you to remember in addition to the other places that we talked about it. Okay, I'm going for my elementary license. I know I heard about whatever tests were required, but I can't remember. This is your reference. Everything you need to know about which tests are required from the PED for your license are right here on this page. Additional program requirements. Each of our classes requires a field component. There's a 10-hour field component for a 3 credit hour class. And so because of that, if you're in Santa Fe, it's in the Santa Fe school districts, but if you're someplace else, we require that you gain permission to observe in the public schools. Or if you want in private schools and charter schools, it's not only public schools, but public schools have very strict requirements about who's allowed in there. And because we have a field component, we do require that. And Supervised Field Experience is the capstone course for the end. Most communication within our program is done via email. The instructors like that because it creates a thread. We work with lots of different students, and this way, when you write to us, and it helps create a trail about, okay, what are we talking about? What are we working on? And we have that documentation. Of course, we answer our phones as well. We also, email you can kind of answer at any time of the day or night, which is also we really like. But primarily, we really like having that thread of what we're working with that student. Supervised Field Experience. Okay, so we talked about the 10-hour field component, which is required in each class, 201A, 201B, 202, 203, 204. When you apply to Supervised Field Experience, you're going to include the observation log that you'll get in 201A with your application. And your instructors of each of your classes will talk to you about that observation log. But Supervised Field Experience, it's a minimum of 150 hours. Now, there's a couple ways you can go. If you are already working on an internship license, you can do your Supervised Field Experience in your classroom where you're already teaching. So you don't have to go find another classroom. And your principal serves as your cooperating teacher, and you'll still work with the faculty supervisor through the college. And you'll kind of blow right through those required 150 hours and do many, many more than that. If you are not working on an internship license and go the more traditional route, then that 150 hours is going to be in the area in which you're seeking licensure with a master teacher, with a cooperating teacher who's a level 2 or beyond. Now, EAs, if you're working as an educational assistant, schools do not allow those hours to overlap, and so just know that that's coming. And if you're working full-time in a profession that is not in a classroom, then just know and be planning on this 150 hours. It all must be done within one semester, and previous teaching does not count toward this, that's coming in this program. Let's see here. Oh, and the application, again, is required the previous semester, as is your passing scores of the NES content exam. Okay. And that class is a little different. It's bi-weekly seminars. It doesn't meet every week like the other classes do. So again, here is the NES, the requirements of the NES, the essential skills required for full acceptance. The content exam, which is required for Supervised Field Experience. The NES reading exam is for elementary only. And that the professional knowledge exam, if you're special education, you can take elementary or secondary. So tuition and fees, and this is as of February 2016. but for SFCC districts, district residents, it's $44.50 per credit hour. So you can kind of bank on, most of our classes are 3 credit hours, so it's going to be about $130 for a 3-credit class. So that might help you in your financial planning when you look at which classes that you're going to take. We don't work at all with financial aid or anything like that, so any of those questions that you might have or situations, I'm going to encourage you to contact the financial aid office here at SFCC. And all online classes have a $25 per credit hour. So since most of our classes are 3 credit hours at $75 for that technological assistance that's added to your tuition. When you receive your New Mexico license, your New Mexico license, you're moving into, in New Mexico, we have a 3-tier licensure system. So this is once you've already completed the program, and actually you've completed all the requirements, but just for your own planning and thinking. If you're working on an internship license, you get paid like a level 1 teacher, and the starting salary for that is $34,000. Level 1 license is $34,000. Now, one recent change, which is actually fabulous, is if you're working on that internship license and you've been teaching for 2 years, that is included in your years to move toward a level 2 license. So once you've been teaching a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 5, New Mexico requires that all level 1 teachers move to level 2 if you want to keep teaching and staying in the classroom. So what does that look like? It's based on principal evaluations, successful completion of 1 year of mentorship, and a professional development dossier. There's some movement now where the New Mexico teacher evaluations will be used instead of that. But this is required for all teachers to do. Level 2 is a $40,000 minimum salary. You don't have to move to level 3. You can, but you don't have to. If you do want to move to level 3, then it's again based on principal evaluations, a dossier or New Mexico teacher evaluations, and a master's degree. It can be a master's degree in anything. It doesn't have to be a master's degree in education. So this is a structure in the system that you'll be moving into. If you are in another state and want to teach there, complete all of the coursework through our program, because states will not accept coursework from other states. Complete everything in the program and then apply for reciprocity, that's the key word, reciprocity, with the public ed department of whatever state you're in. Here's our number. Many of you may know this already, but we're area code 505-428-1256. And some important web addresses as far as to register for the NES test and to be in connection with the Public Education Department, the PED. And that's it. So I just wanted to say thank you. Many of you, this is going to be a required component of our classes. And the question that will be asked is, whether you watch this or not, is what color is the balloon? The balloon is red. So I thank you for your interest in our program. I look forward to working with you. Perhaps we're working together now. If for whatever reason this didn't answer any of your questions, again, please call us at area code 505-428-1256.